moment when you were revealed, 'cause you were a dream that just should not have been a fantasy real. You gave me this beating, baby, this rhythm inside. You made me feel good and feel nice and feel love. Gave me paradise. So shouldn't I realize you're the highest of the high? If you don't know, then I'll say it. So don't ever wonder. Don't ever wonder. Shouldn't I realize? Shouldn't I realize? You're the highest of the high. Oh, if you don't know, then I'll say it. So don't ever wonder. So tell me how long it's gonna take until you speak. Good afternoon, good afternoon. Welcome to the C-Suite. This is Chaundra Daniels. I'm your host. We are back again with my favorite partner, David Rowe. And want to say good afternoon. How's everybody doing today? How you doing, David?
Hey, I'm doing great. What about yourself?
I'm doing good. I really can't complain. Welcome to the C-Suite.
Thank you. Glad to be
here. How has your week been?
My week has been super fantastic.
Really?
Because I created that week.
Really. Well, listen. I feel the same way. It was definitely an eventful week. And as far as I'm concerned, it's over. So let's talk about today. It is about 75 degrees today in New York. Partly cloudy, but it's a very beautiful September day. How is it on your side of the planet?
On my side of the planet, it was nice and cool for the first time in a long time.
Really?
The temperature, oh my goodness, if it's 90 degrees here, it feels like it's 70 degrees in New York. So you got to understand, when it's blazing in this part of the world, it's blazing.
Is it really blazed out there?
Oh my goodness.
Are you melting? Are people melting?
I used to have long hair, and now it's just from the sun out here.
Man, your hair is about as long as mine, and I purposely cut mine, so I don't know what's going on with you. I don't know why your hair is not growing. But let me tell you something. I got the vaccine this week.
What?
I got the shot.
Wonderful.
I did it. And I was totally scared. Right? I'm not even going to tell you. I was really not wanting to do this thing, right?
Well, hey, talk about that for a little bit.
No, seriously, I really didn't want to do it. I really was feeling like, you know what? They're not going to stick me with nothing. Like nothing. They're not going to do that. They're not going to do that to me. And I really was just like, Lord, what's going to happen? What's going to happen? And you know what, David? I'll be honest with you. I just prayed about it. And I was like, you know what, God, if this is the end, so be it. And you know, the feedback I got from prayer.
Give me that.
Was they could take the body, but they can't take your spirit.
Absolutely.
And I was like, okay, I'm gonna rock with that. My spirit is with the Lord, and the Lord is with my spirit, so we good. And I really thought about it, and I was just like, you know what? I need to be able to move around the earth. The planet, right?
Yeah.
I'm a butterfly. I got wings. I can't be sitting like the cocoon lasts but so long, right? You can't sit in the chrysalis but so long. However, it was just one of those things where I felt like I have to be able to make a decision, and I have to make a decision that's not going to be based on fear. And I think that's what it boiled down to. I did not want to make a decision based on fear. I just didn't.
Oh yeah. Well, that's understandable. There's so many people that are paralyzed by that because, they have mixed feelings about it. It's a lot of things driving our belief system. Mm-hmm. And one of the things we do is talk about belief system on a level that kind of gives people the freedom to live out their lives. And because this virus has had so many of us locked in, we're having to make decisions that we would have never thought in our lifetime we would have had to make. So
Right.
it's understandable to be afraid in a time like this, to move forward, even because we don't understand it, and we certainly don't understand how advanced. We forget how advanced as technologies we do have to
Right.
research and do things better. So,
Right.
yeah, it's understandable where you were, and I really appreciate you sharing that with the rest of the crew here on this wonderful show.
Yeah, I just felt like I just needed to do it. But when I did it, I try to do things in form and fashion and do things in decency and order. But when I got there and saw that needle, I had to walk around the office for a minute. I was like, wait, you gonna stick me with that? Are you serious? No, you're not
Yeah,
doing that.
yeah,
But I think what honestly it really got me thinking was when we spoke prior, prior week before, I had gone to Brooklyn. And just to let folks know, if you're looking for the best pancakes in Brooklyn, please go to Brooklyn Channel. It's on Livingston Street. It's over in Cobble Hill. It's absolutely, absolutely delicious. Absolutely delicious. Absolutely delicious. However, when I got there for brunch, no vaccine, no service. Wait, what? Right? And so you had happened to call me, and I was like, "Oh, I'm so glad a familiar voice," because I was feeling kind of, a certain kind of way. And I'm walking down Livingston Street, and we sat in the park and we talked. And of course, as usual, talking to you makes me feel better because you're rational and you're like Chaundra, da, 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 and we're having a great conversation. But I told you, I felt like it was different. Like I felt like it was like when it was whites only. Like you couldn't go. Like I didn't know. I never know how that felt, right? I never know how that felt. And so I was just like, I don't understand why I can't. And then I started to feel bad. And I was just like, it's not, nothing should make me feel this way. This is God's green earth. I should be able to go wherever I'm supposed to go and whatever I need to do. And no one should be able to tell me I could go in and go out of somewhere. Um, and I continued to walk after we talked. I ended up in Red Hook. Long story. Long story. Now, David, I know you're not from New York, but going over to Red Hook from wherever I was definitely like, wait, where am I? Now, don't get me wrong. I went to school in Philadelphia, and I totally have understood different lifestyles and different socioeconomic backgrounds. But however, when the bus stop has a whole bunch of you don't even know what's going on in the grass, I knew it was time to get out of there. Like seriously. But I got on the bus and I felt so much better because I realized that I wasn't making a decision from fear. So I went home and sat with it, and I was good. I was definitely good. And so we lost David for a minute. I'm sure he'll be back. Technical difficulties on his side of the world because he definitely has to be connected. And he's about 7 hours away. But I'll continue the story with you guys online. I basically just thought about it, came home and got an email. I had to, for some work and some business. And the email said, please confirm with us that you're vaccinated. And I really had to take a look at that. Like, this really is going to try to affect not only my livelihood, but those folks who have to go to work and be dependent on themselves. There's no one out here taking care of Chaundra Daniels, but Chaundra Daniels and the good Lord, seriously. And how will I continue to do so if I'm unable to go and be in the places I need to be that will allow me to be able to work and do what I need to do. So I'm thankful that I was able to be prompted to kind of look at it, and I did so. And I did take the Johnson and Johnson. Welcome back, David. I did take the
hey,
Johnson and
thank you.
Johnson.
We
And
have some technical difficulties here,
yeah, I
so
told the people. I said it was on your side of the planet because you over there and blazing 90-degree weather. So we're definitely cool over here. We're definitely cool over here. But definitely was excited. To kind of read up on this stuff. And when you start doing research on the vaccine, it's pretty interesting, right? We have all this negativity that's out there about it and what's happening. However, you have to make your own decisions. And I did take Johnson and Johnson, which I know got recalled, but my whole thing is one shot. One shot, David. I'm not trying to have 2, 3, 4, 5 shots. One shot,
multiple shots.
deal, right? If you're gonna stick me now. And as big as that needle was, and the lady was nice. She said, it's gonna burn. I said, burn like fire? Like, wait a minute, when you put it in my
Yeah.
arm? But it did burn, and I sat with her about 15 minutes, and I was good to go. And you know what? Didn't even think about it till today, until you and I got together. and
Oh, okay.
was able to go about my week and handle my business. I got the little vaccination card, and
Uh-huh.
it's really like I can see how people are out here doing things forging because they just write your name. They just
Uh-huh.
write your name on a card that says from the CDC and good to go. I could have wrote it for myself.
Really?
But what I did also get, I got a printout that showed that I did take it and where I got it from. So I don't want any problems. If I'm gonna follow the
None.
rules and I'm gonna go through the mandate and get things done, then I want something to show officially. In addition to the handwritten vaccination card, that I got this done. So that's out of the way. I'm very excited now that I have forged into vaccination territory. But you know what? I was making a mountain out of a molehill because I wanted to, and because I was really not trying to get involved in a whole debate. I just wanted to be left alone, really. But I'm reemerging from my summer hiatus, which was a great summer. So it's back to business, and I have to get back to what I need to do. So that is my vaccination story. For those of you who are listening or watching and are still hesitant, the choice is yours. The choice is yours. Do your homework. But I would also pray about it. And nothing wrong without going inside and checking with the source and really listening to what information comes back to you. Everything I do, I pray on. Sometimes I
Oh,
forget
that's
and I
good.
go back and read and pray about and be like, did I make the right decision? But I really definitely try to connect. So that's basically my week. That was the highlight of my week. And then we have today. We have today. And how about you? You already vaccinated, right?
Yes, absolutely. I got vaccinated when they first come out with it. One of the things I do is I'm not a scientist. I haven't been all my life as far as the skill set and the commitment and the drive. But we all have some scientists in us. So I didn't question it. I did go by faith. I went
Right.
by faith, pure faith, because a lot of people, that's the first thing they throw a red flag. And it's a lot of arguments, like you said, about the shot. A lot of people have religious stigmatisms going on with it, as well as just conspiracies about it. We don't know, and what we don't know, we don't know.
Right.
And I just didn't have any withdrawal about it at all because it was pure faith for me. I'm like, well, if the God I serve is the God I know him to be, then I'm not really going to worry about it.
Right.
I'm going to go forth because I've never see as a child I didn't have opportunity to do the research on all the flu shots, the mumps, the measles, all that stuff was given to me
No, we
before I
just
even
did
knew
it.
how to
We
say
just
it.
did it. And because we had to
and
go to
and
school and do stuff.
right, it was
Right.
requirement and nobody
Right.
questioned it then, but now we have so many people who absolutely, there's a lot of information, and the only thing about media and a whole lot of mediums that people have is a lot of misinformation, and people tend to flock to the voice or the language that they're familiar with, and you'll find that a lot of people are being paralyzed by the medias because you have your what you would call a, it's kind of like going to Baskin and Robbins media. I mean, if you like this flavor, go to strawberry. If you like this flavor, go to peach. And people think or get in a mindset where peach is the best tasting thing that I ever had, but I've never looked at these other flavors anymore. So I'm getting locked in on what my belief systems are, what I have familiarities with, and it's hindering a lot of people from making a decision. So I
Right.
always encourage people to live by faith and live their life with that liberty and that freedom that our wonderful United States of America cherishes and sticks solely to, is that life, liberty, and the pursuit of happiness. And like you said, it is choice. And be happy with whatever you decide. I always encourage people to stick with your convictions until the principles that are against that. You have to look at principles. People are never going to change their belief unless the principles give them the motivation to do so. And
Right.
so I just encourage you to live by faith and walk by faith, because just reading everything you can read and seeing what you can see, it can get out of hand and it can paralyze you and keep you from having that freedom that you have now because you've done what you had to do. So it will liberate you in other areas of your life. So that's a good thing to know that you did it. And it's a good thing to know that people are still standing by their convictions and sticking to whatever they believe. And I encourage all people to do that.
Absolutely, absolutely. Well, you always have a good word to come with life decisions, and I so appreciate you for that. And
Well,
so
thank you.
now we don't have to worry about me bothering you about it again and going through my own hey, I don't know, but I appreciate you. You're definitely my big brother. I say that you're my big brother, and I always feel like I can talk to you about everything. Well, most things. Well, a lot of things. And that one, the conversation we had last week was great, and so I thank you for that. So again, we are the C-Suite Radio Podcast. My name is Chaundra Daniels. I'm your host, Monarch Productions Principal Consultant. We are here today with David Rowe, our managing consultant, all the way from 7 hours ahead. He's already in tomorrow, and we're here in today. And so really exciting and kind of mixed news since our last show. Rest in peace, Michael K. Williams. If most people listening know by now, he has passed away. He was the iconic character. He played the iconic character Omar on The Wire. One of my favorite shows, David.
Really?
All time. Yes. I have 5 top shows. You want me to name them for you?
Absolutely.
The Wire.
Uh-huh.
Scandal.
Oh.
Right. Newsroom. That comes on HBO. Actually, that's up there with The Wires. The Newsroom.
Yeah.
Okay, well, these are my 3 top TV shows. And then I have The Matrix as a movie and The Book of Eli as a movie. So my top 3 TV shows are The Wire, Scandal, and Newsroom, which 2 have been on HBO and 1 on ABC. And then Matrix and The Book of Eli. And all tie into the human character and how we kind of go through our life's purpose and things of that sort. But Michael K. Williams did pass away. Omar was a great character. He actually played a vigilante kind of sort of drug dealer, but he was like getting at the other gangs. And he was always trying to do right by to keep it fair, to keep the game fair. Right. He was like, every man has a code, and he had a code, and he was definitely known as one not to mess with. And the series ended with him being murdered by a child in a community. And he was trying to really kind of save the kids. He didn't want the drug dealers doing drugs around the kids and stuff like that and all kind of stuff. Like he had a code, and he felt like the drug war where he grew up or where they were selling in Baltimore had got out of hand. And so he was definitely kind of the one who leveled street justice, but had a definitely philosophical, moral kind of level of integrity to his life. And in the end, gets killed by a kid, like the irony. However, in real life, Michael K. Williams struggled with drug addiction and substance abuse, and was a prolific actor, a great dancer, and loved and a great friend to many. And so the irony that his character that he played was about street justice, and this person himself was about justice for other people. And unfortunately, he succumbed to his own fight. And it was unfortunate that allegedly, and according to the reports, that the drug that he was using was possibly laced with fentanyl, which seems to be happening a lot around the drug scene, and things are just crazy right now. So it's one of those things that it's like, wow. And he was 54, very, very young. And so that's happened in between us meeting 2 weeks ago and today. And so rest in peace, Michael K. Williams. And I'm not sure, have you watched Have you watched The Wire?
Well, I have watched, or at least seen it. I wasn't really a vivid watcher. I hadn't really been into television for several years. I do catch some programs and I'll go to some movies, but I've been so busy just really trying to reestablish myself. Almost every year I got a goal or some ambition to get a little bit better in a certain area. So I'm kind of tied up. I don't get to see as much or do as much entertainment as far as television watching, but I am familiar with The Wire. I just don't know it as detailed as you are.
I have it as a box set. Like I bought it. You laughing, but about 10 years ago, I bought the box set at Target. Wow. And I got all 5 seasons. So even if they stop streaming, I could plug it in my Blu-ray.
Plug it in and keep going, right?
So here's the thing. I watch The Wire every Christmas. Because I've been in education in universities, we would have the Christmas time between Christmas and New Year's. So I would take the week, have the week for vacation, and I would watch The Wire. That's like a tradition, right? I haven't done it in the past 2 years, but I would watch it every time and I would watch the whole series. So that's 5 seasons packed into like 2 weeks. So
binge watching, huh?
Binge watching, but when I watched it, I felt like I was in Baltimore, and every time I watched it, I would get a lesson. Like, oh, I didn't see that the last time. So I think that this year, in honor and to return to my tradition, I'm going to do it again, and dust off my DVD or Blu-ray box set and plug it in. I'm not even going to stream it. I'm going to actually take it out the box, put it in, and watch it. So I'm excited. And all those who are listening, you can join me. It's five long seasons, but you will come out really appreciating not only our favorite and beloved actor, but the series itself. There's a lot of life lessons.
I'm sure it is. And a lot of those series do offer so much information on it. And if you watch it not only for entertainment, you end up getting that nice lesson, and it makes you think about your own life and how some of those characters you can really relate to, because you do have family members. And not only that, but we have struggles in our own life that are similar to what we see the characters struggling with, that we can relate to, and sometimes what they do give us an answer to some questions that we've had about our own life, and kind of reevaluate what we need to do to move forward.
Right. Well, absolutely. And that's a segue to some more upbeat news. Here at Bars and Hoops Radio, the #1 radio station on the internet, and it's true, it's #1 radio station on the internet, Bars and Hoops Radio. Did I say that? #1 radio station on the internet. I want to make sure that I kind of add some not only entertainment news, but some sports news. And so this week, our girl Naomi Osaka is back in the news, David.
Really?
Yes. Osaka has launched a skincare line. So I'm going to read from the Forbes article. And this is an excerpt. While Osaka mentioned she might be temporarily stepping away from the tennis court, her latest venture, Kinlo, is a functional skincare solution for melanated skin and underserved communities. She stated that while tennis can be challenging at times, she's very thankful for the platform it gives her and the ability to work on projects that matter to her, like Kinlo. So, what do you think about that? Like, she got a skincare line. Like, that is amazing. And tennis is you're out in the sun. You're out in the sun. And she always used to joke and say, I don't need any skincare. I don't need anything to put on my skin because I got melanin skin. But the sun will get all of us.
Oh yeah, it'll eat you alive.
Melanin protects and gives you some extra, kapow, but it needs to be protected. So Miss Osaka has a new skin line called Kinlo. Are you gonna get it? Are you gonna buy it? Are you gonna check it out?
I probably will, because you just brought it up and let me brought that into my awareness. I know myself and my wife both, we try to take care of ourselves, and especially with us, in our community, it's so important that we go outside. We need to protect our body as well as anybody else. Going outside, being in the sun, or around the beach, or whatever you got to do, having something to protect that skin. I mean, this is the largest absorber in the entire body. So
absolutely, it's the largest organ on our body. It's the skin is and it's an organ. People we forget, but the skin is an organ, and it's the largest organ on our body, and it's outside. It's the protector.
Yeah.
Which is ironic why we fight about race based on skin color, when the thing that protects us is the one. Okay, don't let me get started. Let me stop. Let me not go there. Subject, right? But tell wifey to go pick it up. Actually, since she's in the States, tell her to pick it up and give us a skincare review. Or maybe I'll get it and I'll give it a review just to support. I think Naomi Osaka is a phenomenal athlete. And I knew that she had a challenging summer that really allowed her to make a life decision. And I'm sure, launching a skincare line didn't just happen overnight. I think that was probably part of her plan. And so, you know what, let me just use my platform to continue to do good. Just want to add that Kinlo is backed by A-Frame, and it's amongst emerging brands within the personal care category that are centering needs for Black, Brown, and Asian Pacific communities, with the premier functional skincare line specifically formulated to protect, repair, and renew melanated skin tones. The concept of Kinlo was born from a public health need dismissed by biopic community. Oh, excuse me, black and brown peoples and people of color. And basically saying that the sun can have the same damage and effect. So Naomi found her purpose, or the purpose for her platform. So she has a purpose. She has several of them, but she found a purpose for her platform, which is truly amazing. And so just wanted to let people know, check out Naomi Osaka's Kinlo. It should be launching shortly. And if you can't find it, I can give you the information, which is KINLO. And you can Google that, and I'm sure it'll take you to where you can find more information about her skincare brand. So that's good news. Good news from Naomi Osaka. And which brings us to our topic of today. I'm excited. I'm excited for this conversation. I'm looking forward to us diving in. I'm looking forward to learning from you today because, you know, I usually am running my mouth, but today I will be paying attention and taking notes. Today's topic is life on purpose. Live on purpose, life on purpose, life on purpose.
Life on purpose.
Life on purpose. So how about we do this? How about we go to a music break, and when we come back, we will do some discussing about life on purpose. How about
Absolutely.
that? Okay, great. We'll be right back.
This hole in the wall where the music they play is the kind you listen to wash your troubles away. She sits all alone with her drink on its way, posted with her eyes closed, that's left to right, her head sways. Ooh, so beautiful, like a thing. What is her vibe? Yeah, wasn't like no one's I've ever seen. So, hey, would you mind if I take a seat? Yeah. So I sat, and as we started to chat, that's when she told me she's from Philadelphia. She grew up on the west side. Yeah, a one-room apartment in LA where she now resides. Home is Philadelphia, though we just met tonight. Can I be a part of your life? Yeah. Her favorite color's red. She has 2 dogs and a goldfish. She says after law school she wants a career before kids. We spoke forever on topics like religion and politics, up until the music stopped, which meant our time was at its end. So as the lights came up ever so slow, we had romance, and I wasn't about to let it go. So as I pulled out her chair so that we could leave, I asked her, was it too soon to ask her, can you spend the night with me? She's from Philadelphia. She grew up on the west side. A one-room apartment in LA where she now resides. Home is Philadelphia. We just met tonight. Can I be a part of your life? Miss PHILLY, can we try to do this? I hope that I'm not asking too much, but can I get a little hometown love? Miss PHILLY, let's just try to do this. I hope that I'm not asking too much, but can I get a little hometown love? She's from Philadelphia. She's from the west side. On the west side. In LA, where she now home is Philadelphia. We just tonight. Can I be a part of your life? Be a part of your life, baby. She's from Philadelphia, Philadelphia, west side, the west side. A one-room apartment in LA, where she now resides. Oh, Miss Philadelphia, just met tonight. Can I be a part of your life?
And we're back. That was Music Soul Child, Miss Philadelphia. I love that song. I love, you know, I
Beautiful song.
had to give Philadelphia a shout out. Most people say, most people who meet me now, like, oh, you're from Philly? No, I'm from New York. I had a moment where I was claiming Philly all the time because that's what I do. And I will always claim Philly. Philly is where my heart is. And you know that. Most people know that. The people who know that. So that was just a tribute to Philadelphia, which brings us to our conversation today. Life on purpose. Let's talk about it. We just talked about Naomi Osaka using her platform to launch the skincare line. We just, talked about Michael K. Williams and how his life was, tragically ended so soon. However, he had purpose too. We all have purpose. And so today's conversation is really kind of just taking an opportunity to have some reflection on what is it about living on purpose, and the 3 keys. We wanted to do 12, and you are the fabulous partner that you are. I said, no, Chaundra, we can't do 12 keys today. So we're going to do 3 keys to discovering a life on purpose. So take it away, sir.
Okay. Well, first of all, make sure you're aware of that the wisdom you have to give the insight that we are going to kind of go into this, but it's more of a we're going to collaborate just like we always do. I think when the moment is right, chime in, say what you need to say. But this is still going to be just a collaboration here. One of the things that you brought out, and I really get excited when I hear that someone actually got a chance to live out a portion of their lives that give us a snapshot of part of who they were and their purpose on this earth to entertain and to give people happiness by the actions that they take in their lives. I don't think a lot of people get purpose altogether. I think we see a lot of people on a level of glamour. We see the athletes, we see the actors, we see and hear about the doctors, or even have doctors that we salute because we know that they've made a lot of people's lives better for what they bring to the table. And talking about life on purpose, I mean, like you said, Naomi, she's done a thing on the court, but now she has another an area she's going into, another way to express who she is and why she was created on this planet to do what she do. When I look at that topic you were talking about, life on purpose, it's really about living life in love, liberty, and peace of mind, and really having no regrets. You got to think about it. You think Omar had any regrets about doing what he's did
Michael K. Williams?
All his life?
Michael K. Williams?
Yeah, Mike.
Yeah, Omar was the character.
I'm using his character.
Oh, okay. Sorry.
Do you think he, out of all that he did in the movie, Michael K., when he did what he done, and you watched the movies or you watched the show, did he seem like he was regretful at all for what he was trying to accomplish? Although he might not have wanted to be in the community of a drug dealer, but he was what he was. Right. But he also had that character. Right. And that, yeah. What do you think about
everybody has purpose? I think that for where he is, for where he was, and where his character is, his character was to level the playing field. Like if we're gonna do this, let's do it right. Like we already out here doing this thing. We don't need to be doing it wrong. So he brought that to it, but he also realized that he was flawed. I think that was something that I respect about the character. That he spoke his truth. Like he wasn't trying to get out the game. He was just like, it is what it is. But if we're gonna do the game, let's do right. And let's do right by these kids. Like no one else should have to really go through what we're going through. So let's try not to bring them in. Don't use them as runners. He was really trying to keep it. And he also, as a sidebar, and this is, definitely a conversation that we can have for another topic, for another show. But Omar's character was homosexual. And so the whole thing that prompted him to be a vigilante is that the one of the gangs, Stringer and Avon, I forget the name of their group. I have to watch it again. They killed his lover, and he had revenge. So he was like, and his whole thing was like, y'all didn't have to, y'all was coming for me, come for me, but y'all didn't have to kill him like that. And his lover was really just an innocent bystander, and they tortured him, and that's really what tortured his soul. So to answer your question, yes, he was very clear about who he was, and he understood he did understand his purpose. He really did. So as long as it was, yes.
So in Michael K's livelihood, he got a chance to express in his actions and in his career field a lot of cut to the chase things that we have going on in our world now. The shift, like you just brought up, the fact that he was homosexual. And so it was a shift. It was something that America, especially in America, it was 30, 40 years ago. People were they did not want to live free.
Right.
They couldn't live free. It was a shame. And now you have that shift in that character, and you'll see that, and you've seen it. One of the platforms that are television, that being that platform that kind of cushions America and cushions the rest of the world into the changes that are transferring. I mean, think about it. Years ago, and I'm just going to say, like, for instance, the Jetsons. You remember that cartoon called the Jetsons? You remember that? Now, back then, the cell phone, the technology we're using now, when the boss called his employee, it would pop up and we can see it. We didn't have that technology.
We did not.
But we were being conditioned. We were being conditioned for where we were going.
Yes.
And so that's going to be a part of how we talk about this, because living life on purpose, I tell you what, when you have a purpose, and somebody had a purpose, when they saw that they had that cartoon of Justice, somebody had purpose years before we ever thought about this.
Right.
They're like, look, we need some technology that where I can just call you and I can see and go back and forth. They had that purpose in mind. And to introduce us to that purpose, to get us used to that technology before we ever knew what was going on, they laid out the vision. They gave us where we were headed. We didn't know it. So when we got there, it was like, wow, I remember this. And now all of a sudden we're having a conversation about a vision someone had years ago that had the purpose to bring about technology on a level that we never even thought about could even exist. But yet, and still today, it went from being able to dial somebody. You remember back in the day, we had the party line.
We did? I don't know. My parents were strict. So I don't know.
So what I call the party line, telephone, where when you picked it up, you could hear everybody in the community talking.
No, I didn't have that. No way.
Yeah.
You could do that?
Yeah, we did have that.
No, I don't think okay. That had nothing to do with my parents being strict. That had to be with us not wanting to be nosy. Like that's how's everybody on the same phone?
They had the same line. So it was like when you picked up the phone, if you heard somebody already talking, just hung up because, I got to wait till they get off the phone. Right. And eventually it got to where you had your own privatized dial in. But the whole thing started from a person that had purpose to develop the technology for us to even communicate without being in the same room.
Right.
And here we are right now. I'm on another side of the planet, and we're having a conversation about purpose. Purpose.
I wanted to make sure that when we have these conversations that we're clear on definition. So I looked up purpose, and the purpose is defined as the reason for which something is done or created for, or for which something exists.
Yes.
So that is, and I think that's clear, and no more explanation needed. But I always like to know what things mean. So I wanted to share that. We are discussing life on purpose. We are here on the C-Suite Radio Podcast. I'm Chaundra Daniels, your host. This is David Rowe, managing consultant of Monarch Productions, and we are discussing three keys of personal growth. So purpose, visions, and goals, perfect imperfections, and gratitude. So let's start with purpose, vision, and goals.
Purpose, vision, and goals. Okay, so just like you just defined it, it's basically asking the question, why? when a person defines, when you define your purpose, the questions that should come to mind is, why am I doing this? Simple. Why am I doing it?
Right.
Another one is, why am I to accomplish whatever it is I'm doing? What is the end state? Where am I headed? What is the end of my journey? So, because we're people of faith, I always turn to scripture, and I always can say that the Bible teaches that God knows the end from the beginning.
Right.
And the idea for any journey is to know where you're headed before you get on the road.
Right.
I think we mentioned it the last conversation. It's kind of like Google Maps. In order for Google Maps to tell you how to get somewhere, first of all, you have to identify where you are. And then you have to you have to come up with an idea of where you're trying to go.
Right.
A lot of people don't get into that mindset. They don't really know where they're headed. They just know, I want to do something. And we're always just trying to dig into, well, what is that something? If I can get you to explain to me where you're trying to go, that defines a part of who you are. But what I love about purpose is your ultimate purpose will be discovered along the way of any journey that you decide. So it's so important that you ask the question, why am I doing? What am I doing? What am I doing? Am I going to college? Am I going to be a soldier? Am I going to be an architect? And what am I doing with my life? And it doesn't have to be. What I love about any journey is you might decide to be one thing, but God's intention for your life is going to always manifest in the journey.
Okay, so I know this is getting good. I wanted to go through each topic before we broke it down. What about, as we go through this journey, is perfect imperfections? That's the sticky key we're going to talk about today.
So perfect imperfections, you have to know that you were fearfully and wonderfully made. So who you are now is perfect. And where you're going to be perfected. The idea is that you get on the journey and you'll understand that who you are right now, what people typically try to teach in this particular area, or you should think about this, is that you're going to discover more about who you are. And when you discover that, you're going to find out what you don't know, and you won't know why. You won't know that talent.
Right.
What you need to focus on in that perfect imperfection mode is the strength and not the weakness. That's what I love about what you teach, the strength finder, because so many people focus on the weakness that they lose the identity and lose their identity because they shouldn't be worrying about the weakness. There's other people that's going to fill that gap for you. And you're perfectly imperfected so that you can complete and not compete. And so that's where we go when we talk about that.
Okay. And then once we kind of start on our way, we want to be thankful and give gratitude. Can you talk about that?
Yes, absolutely. So when you do anything, when you experience, or what I like to do, and I like to talk about gratitude, I always remind people of the people that are nice in their lives and what they did for them. And you always can find somebody that did right by you. And for no reason at all, for the rest of their lives, you'll always honor and thank God for them, and you'll be appreciative of them. But the thing about, and because we're people of faith, we talk about scripture and we talk about God a lot.
Right.
But even when the things that go wrong, they have purpose in your life. And so we always tell you to find a way to be thankful both for the good, the bad, and the indifferent.
Absolutely.
And when you can find a way to praise, even when things are tragic, you thank God for that. Or when things are going extraordinarily well, you thank God. When you begin to say thank you, it's really hard to stay in a depressive mode when you're being grateful and when you're being thankful. It's really hard to stay down and out.
It really is, because you really get an assessment. You really get an assessment of what you have. And it's so important to understand that it really gives us an opportunity to kind of move forward as we kind of look at what we can do with what has been given to us. So
yes,
we're gonna take another break and we're going to come back and continue the conversation. This is the C-Suite.
Yo, my
Display of attributes in a tight situation is like squeezing grapes for the drunken sensation. But these grapes got the taste of wrath. On behalf of my staff, I blaze a trail and set a path of forward motion. Cause a commotion and diminish competition. School the shorties cause the I be on a mission. Steady dismissing nonsense and weak foes who kick fuckery flows to stay afloat in the water. I simply order to cease your whole manslaughter attitude. Cause niggas like you ain't really rude. I'm never pulling punches. Delivery is revelation. Hear the eye out, find out what you're facing. Never displacing the way brothers be living, but bust the true elements of what I'm giving. Delivering the full coverage of how I'm living in the years of the 9. My style and my life is defined.
The very first African man born into a system that's torn into pieces, now running through the feces. But every day I feel that the love keeps decreasing, so I bring the love vibe to make it all coincide. Our love is imperial majesty. Man, it's a tragedy. I seen your whole strategy. It's weaker. Your style's been blown like the speaker. While I'm an old school, new school, rhyme fool with no tool, packing the mic and keeping my cool. Like the water in the pool, quite refreshing. Won't settle for less in this rap game. I'm far from lame, while others fiend for fame. I remain the same, staying laced for the future that's faced, my lord. Where I and I all together on one accord. Yo, the clique that manifests with much rapport, with much love to give within the life I live.
Birth time, see my first rhyme in 207, 1971 September 11th to the 12th is when he blessed my peoples with wealth. Firstborn son Rob, chilling in good health. Couldn't imagine the praise when I came out, the boom boom. My mom's room was a nigga's only room. Now I got the whole world to express myself, stretch myself, relax and plus rest myself. With impossible props to pull, check it steadily, avoid all the obstacles and negativity. Your faggot stressing me, take advantage to get the best of me, sweating in hopes of getting next to me. It won't happen. See, I came to rock the spot, serving the facts I got on these urban back blocks of America. From 4 square miles, New York is stereo, where strength dominates the inferior. And I'm out.
And we're back. That was The Life I Live by Pete Rock and I. I love that song. I love Pete Rock. He's a super great producer. And I thought it was a good song to pick for today. So our topic for today is life on purpose. 3 keys to personal growth and development. This is the C-Suite. I am your host, Chaundra Daniels. We are here today with David Rowe, managing consultant for Mindest Productions, and we're going to talk about the first key, which is purpose, vision, and goals. So I'm on life on purpose. I'm trying to figure this out. What am I doing? So this is one key that opens the door for purpose, vision, and goals.
Yes.
Okay. I'm ready.
So tell me, how do you feel when you're fulfilling your purpose?
I feel great. I feel absolutely great. It's one of those things that I I had this question recently asked. Someone asked me the other day, how do you feel you have a great day? And I was like, I don't know. It's like seeing two rainbows. When you see one rainbow, it's like, okay, a rainbow. We see two, it's like, doe, like two. Like, how does that happen? But I feel it's actually unexplainable. When I do the things that I know I'm supposed to be doing, or working with the people I'm supposed to be working with, or are learning from people that I'm supposed to be learning from, or just anything. I think I feel peaceful. I can't. There's no other word to describe it. I just feel like, yeah, that's it. I feel like I feel accomplished. That's the word. I feel like, and I don't know if that's a feeling, but I feel like I've done what I was supposed to do.
Yeah.
Why do you ask? Why do you ask that question?
Well, I asked because I was just thinking out whenever I was writing something down. I was writing about how it's about living life in love. It's
Okay.
about having that life in liberty. It's
Mm-hmm.
about having that life in peace of mind, and
Right.
then having no regrets.
Mm-hmm.
When you just define that, it simply just it flowed, because I want to kind of, when we talk about purpose, we have this misconception that everybody has this high level purpose that they live on earth, but we define it as high level because, well, they see these individuals out there,
Right.
as if your day-to-day purposes doesn't have the same impact around the world. I mean, literally everybody you bump into, when you're walking around and fulfilling a purpose to direct and motivate other people, and you're not even aware of the people that you're touching,
Right.
but you have this sense of, you feel loved, you have a liberty that's unexplainable, and peace of mind. I mean, how priceless is peace of mind when you know that you're operating in such a way, and that gives you your why. When you have your why, you don't hit the snooze button anymore. You stop hitting the snooze button, you jump out of the bed. It's time to get it, because you feel fulfilled. Like you said, you feel accomplished, and you have purpose. You have a reason to get out of the bed. Purpose gives you an agenda day to day. When
Okay.
you get up, you have something to do. And have you ever got out the bed with something to do? You didn't feel good in your body, but because you knew you had a purpose that day, did not feeling good make you stop doing or fulfilling what you had to get accomplished?
Uh, did not feeling good
Yes.
interfere with with getting it? No, because I got it done. Now, did I do it begrudgingly? Probably, but to get it done, yeah, absolutely,
You had
absolutely.
something to do. And,
Mm-hmm.
and it's all by itself motivation. See, when I served in the military, we had this saying, or we say leaders should give people purpose, direction, and motivation. When you
Okay.
look at purpose, vision, and goal, purpose, what are you doing? Direction, the vision, motivation, the goal. What is the end state? We want to make sure that we understand that one thing leads to the other. And when you deal with purpose, vision, and goals, you're simply dealing directly with a goal setting operation. You're
Right.
looking at, why am I up this morning, and what am I going to accomplish while I'm up? And how am I going to make that happen? It's all in a nutshell. You don't even have to dream about it. When you read it out loud, you can see clearly that I need to have a reason for doing what I'm doing. And if I have a reason, I have the ultimate, I have to have a series of goals to get there. So it's about a goal setting thing. It's about asking that question, why am I doing it? It's about, what am I going to accomplish? It's about why. Why do I do this? Some people do it for the joy and they have the motivation to accomplish it. Some people are motivated by the money that they're going to make at the end of the day. But when you look at all that it's really about a goal setting process that you literally have to think through, get up, and put it on paper. I encourage anybody, you can't accomplish as much as you would like to accomplish until you decide to write the vision and make it plain. And when I say write it, I mean literally writing it out, saying, look, this is my end state. Start from the end, because that'll give you the breadcrumbs in the beginning.
Okay. Okay. Well, um, that was a lot to take in, but I really like the way you talked about how we need to be able to understand where we're going, um, and that the goal setting really is a piece of the process. Um, and how do we go about setting goals is really the true key to all of this. I believe, as I heard you state, is you have to have somewhere that you're going. And some days you're not going anywhere. It seems like you're supposed to be always doing something or going something, but some days are required to be still. Some days are required to be still. I do believe that. Um, but I believe even in the being still, you're still on your way. You're still on your
Absolutely.
way.
So one of the things when we deal with purpose, vision, and goals, you have to be mindful that the first thing you need to identify is who you are.
Okay.
You need to understand who you are. You need to understand how you function. So to give you an example of that, eh, I'm not the best person after 1500 in the afternoon. Whenever or
1500
3
meaning
o'clock,
3 o'clock. Thank you.
at 3
Like
o'clock in the afternoon.
got it. Right. Right. I'm slow.
At
I'm slow.
1500 in the afternoon. So I know that I do my best performance by waking up extremely early in the morning, 4 or 5 o'clock in the morning. I'm up, get a cup of coffee, and I get my day going. I can write better. I can think better, more with more clarity. I'm more creative in the early morning. And as my day go towards lunch, after lunch, I start declining. I recognize that I don't perform at my best. So I know I have to get up and I have to put things in order for that day in that timeline because I want to get some stuff done. And when I wake up, I know I have something to do. I know how to perform in that. I know how and what I do and I perform. Just like you mentioned, and this is where I'm segueing from, is the fact that you said you do have to be still.
Right.
But that's all about knowing who you are and where you are in the continuum of your performance. So throughout the course of the week, if your Wednesday or your Thursday is your day to be still,
Hmm.
even when you're being still, you're having insight and you're getting an understanding. You're refreshing yourself so that you can be more creative. You can fulfill your purpose with the right attitude and have the right spirit about what you accomplish or
Right.
what you're doing or how you deal with people. So it's so important that you do take a time or take that time, but understand you discover that window of pause as you get on a journey. You can't discover it if you're not pursuing anything.
Right.
But the moment you get in the car and start driving, you know when gas is going out because there's an indicator on the
That is
dashboard
going
that
down.
tells you.
Right. Right.
And so
Right.
it is for you as well. So it's so important that you know who you are in your pursuit and to fulfill your purpose.
Okay. And that sounds all great and gravy, right? And I'm really being challenging here because as we have these discussions and things of that sort, I'm learning. And I always say to you, as the work that we do never just requires us to know everything. It requires us to learn most things, and apply it and share it. And so I love this topic. I love this topic for today because I wanted to learn more about how I can keep forging on my purpose, right? And so the biggest thing that I really feel out of the whole part of this key, which is purpose, vision, and goals, is the vision part because I see things. You and I talk about this all the time. I see things and not like, ooh, I see things. I don't only see the potential, but I also see things that manifest because of not only what I believe in, and no, because of what I believe in, not just only it is because of what I believe in, but also believe in the words that we speak. And so when the Bible says write the vision down and make it plain, it's so you can see it, right? You have to be able to see the vision, and writing things down and keeping track of what you're doing and where you're going is helpful. Now, I'm not saying, it's something that is simple as this is the plan and this is going to work, because you're going to revise a lot. And I wanted to talk to that because, when you say make a revision, it's funny. Words tell you how life works, right? And so
Yes.
you go back and you revise, you look at your vision and say, oh, let me recalculate. Recalibrating. I know sometimes we go, so I forget what I watched the other day and it was like recalibrating. I was like, why? What are you recalibrating? And realize that you have to get back on course. You're never too far off your goal, because you always will have to and will be sometimes recalibrated or have to revisit. Can you speak to that?
Yes, because the one thing about purpose never changes. Plans change, but
Mm-hmm.
purpose doesn't. And when I talk about that, I'm talking about it almost from a faith-based mindset. Because when God created the world, He also had an image of who we were going to be, and His purpose for your life has never changed. But in the garden, we read a story that talks about Adam having failed, because even with God displaying or allowing us to see in Scripture how when He came on the scene, Adam failed. That was not in God's agenda,
Right.
but things happen in life that causes you to be set back. Now,
Mm-hmm.
his purpose for Adam never changed, but his plans on how he would get Adam to where he needed to go always changed. That goes back to having a vision and understanding the end from the beginning. When you have a vision, a clear vision, it's so important that you have a clear vision. And clear vision is a process that you constantly have to revisit the information that you had. So if I'm going to establish a purpose on a piece of paper, what is my purpose? To save $1,000 in the next 5 months. Then I
Which
have
you
to
can
know.
do, which you can do, because I've done it. I've actually
Yes,
done it. You can save a lot of money in how many months you said? 5?
5 months.
Oh, you can save a lot of money in 5 months. You can,
Oh,
if you're
absolutely.
disciplined. If you follow your if you follow the
You
vision.
got to have. Hey,
Right.
what is the purpose? The
Right.
purpose is to have $1,000 at the end of the month or at the end of 5 months. Your vision. How am I going to? Your vision. You got clearly. You can begin to think about. I can tell you right now. When I look at my bank, I'm looking at the numbers and I'm envisioning that $1,000 being there, and the how doesn't even have to be in your mind right away. You're not even thinking about it until you write the vision and make it plain. You begin to write it out, and so now you start looking around and you start going and seeking out advice. You start looking and doing research because you're collecting information to clarify your vision. But I told my wife, I said, before you furnish our house,
Right.
go get a vision for the home. Go look at other things that are similar to what you have a desire for. Get that plant it in your head so that you can clearly see what it is you're going to start ordering before you ever put it in the home. And I said, walk around in the house.
Right.
Get a clear vision, a mental vision of what you would like it to look like. And I said, read every magazine that has something to do with your living room,
Right.
because you're going to get a glimpse of what it is you want by looking at the things that even other people have done it before. Because what I love about this wonderful earth is there's so much that other people have done before us. We have a vision for the same lifestyle or the same things in life, and we don't even take advantage of the fact that we got people like Chaundra Daniels, who's a picture of what I want to be when I grow up. Why am I not looking at some of the things that she's done, and why don't I read her book or get on her page and just kind of see how she's developed over the years? You have the resources.
Well, they haven't read the book because it hasn't been written yet.
Oh,
However,
it's being written.
it actually is being written as we speak, but it hasn't been put forth out into the world as a published product. And shout out to KG from Bars and Hoops Radio. She has completely finished her book and has been inspirational in me moving forward in my book. So I wanted to give her a shout out. Congratulations. She comes on 7 p.m. on Mondays. And she has a great show, A Little Bit of Sunshine. And she's very, very, her spirit is very contagious. And just wanted to congratulate a Bars and Hoops colleague on accomplishing one of their goals. So we're going to take a quick break, a very quick break, like a 2-minute break. And then we're going to come back and talk about the second key, perfect imperfections. Does that work, sir?
Absolutely.
Okay, great. This is the C-Suite on Bars and Hoops Radio. Chaundra Daniels. We'll be right back.
Ladies and gentlemen, 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 your attention, please. Your attention, please. Attention, please.
And now the moment we've been waiting for is here.
I have something to tell you.
Hey, Sarah, Sarah. Hey, Sarah, Sarah. be. The future's not our future's not our future's not our future's not.
I believe in the future. I believe in the future. I don't believe in miracles.
Can it be true? It must be true, no doubt. No doubt. Life is going on as normally as ever. But suddenly something seems to have happened. Suddenly something seems to have happened. Everybody seems to be staring in one direction. People seem to be frightened, even terrified. I want everybody to understand this.
I don't understand.
I don't understand.
There are a lot of things we don't understand. I don't understand.
We need answers from you. What did you expect to find? What did you expect to
What's gonna be our future?
It's your responsibility to do something about it. Well, I have the key in my hand. All I have to find is the lock. The lock. The lock. The lock.
Now listen to me, all of you.
Hey, set off, set off. 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 Whatever will be, will be. Will be. Dum, ding, dum, da, 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 da. Oh, you're divine.
I really, really like that song. That is Que Sera by, let me make sure I say it right, Wax Taylor. And this is the C-Suite. This is Chaundra Daniels. I'm your host. Welcome back. We are talking to David Rowe, managing consultant of Monarch Productions, and we are talking about life on purpose, the 3 keys to life and personal growth. And our first key we discussed prior to the break was purpose, vision, and goals. And now we're going to talk about perfect imperfections. Perfect imperfections.
Yes.
That's a nice way of saying we're flawed. We have flaws.
Yes,
Not
it
perfect.
is.
We got issues, things going on. But I love it. I love, this summer I really took a break. I just took this whole, and actually I haven't been on social media in a minute. And actually I feel like okay. And it's not that I think is, I have to be totally detached, but I needed to take a break and not check in on people or have them checking in on me, just posting all the time. And so what I found was that I had time to check in on Chaundra. And guess what I found out? I'm perfectly imperfect. So let's talk about that. Let's kind of dig into that. I really liked this key. And I'm hoping that if not only for myself, you can help some of our listeners kind of work through that.
Absolutely. So it's just like you were saying. I have to think about this all the time because I used to beat myself up terribly because I know that I was flawed, and it seemed like that's all I could think about. So my language consumed me. And this part here, I want to really focus on just your language about who you are. When I read the language in my faith, I'm told that I'm fearfully and wonderfully made. I'm told that I'm a royal priesthood. I'm a peculiar people. I'm the head and not the tail. I'm the lender and not the borrower. When I have that kind of language in my head, that gives me the kind of confidence that even when I'm having a tough time getting through something, I'm gonna be okay. But that wasn't my story. I grew up in times when it was common for mom or dad or sister and brother or family members all together that might say things, or people in the school, that knew your parents or knew something about them. Oh, you just like your daddy. He's a this, he's a that. And so you get programmed by other people's language. And when you allow that to enter into your life, you have this definition of who you are and the flaws that other people had in their lives. And that becomes who you are. That becomes that person you created and allowed other people to put on you. And so I wasn't even going to talk about it from a language point of view, but it's the reality that we live in. We're not perfect in the sense of not making mistakes or being an all-knowing person, because God is all-knowing, not we, not me, not us. But we do have areas that we are strong in, that we have that level of strength in, that we can actually do or be that superhero. in that particular area. And a lot of us don't focus on a superhero. We focus on the guy that's the flawed individual. It's a mindset. I mean, it's literally thinking about who I am and why I am, and allowing other people to tell you who and why you are versus telling yourself who you are and being reminded that your creator told you who you were. And he said, my thoughts, I know the thoughts that I think toward you. And when you have that, knowing that he concerned himself enough to think about you before you were ever born, that's empowering all by itself. But this is about a conversation that you have deflated who you are. You have discredited the fact that, yeah, you're not perfect in everything you do. I wasn't a fast reader when I started reading, but as I read more, I got better. My vocabulary increased. So over time, I got an area that I was weak in stronger, but I didn't even think about focusing on that. I was trying to be the person that I knew I was, and that was a good leader, and leaders are readers. So I wanted to be a better reader. Even as a young kid, I knew that I needed to be able to express myself better, and reading would help me do that. And defining myself, by myself helped me get away from the stigma and the things that people look at on others to deflate them and cause them to be at harm with themselves and at odds with themselves. And now they don't even have a desire to attempt to be more than what they currently are. In that state that they're in, they satisfy, they set right there and say, you know what, they've already defined me, I'm not going anywhere. You got some insight on that?
Well, I do. And I think that it's really about accepting all that you are, despite what anyone says. Because it is difficult. It is very challenging in this world to not know who you are. But it's also more difficult when you don't know where you're going. And even when you do know who you are and where you're going, and then you try to meet the needs of the perception of others for you, that can add the additional burden. And so I try, and I have succeeded on some occasions of just not even listening to those voices. I recently, had to readjust how I even have conversations with people. It's just, okay, I hear you. And I make sure I listen to folks because I want to be attentive. However, I take what I'm supposed to take and I leave what I'm supposed to leave. And I just had a conversation today, and the person I was talking to was really trying to pull something out of me, which was not information. It was more about an emotion. And I was just like, okay, and totally kept going. And so understanding that that's that person's issue, and trying to understand that issue, but I wasn't even wasting energy trying to figure out why the person is where they are. That's what it is. That's what it is. And I'm not going to spend my entire life trying to decipher the world because I'm going to miss the beauty in it. Sometimes a flower is just a flower. Sometimes a rose is just a rose. Watch out for the thorns, but I don't need to know why the chlorophyll looks red on the rose and green on the stem. It's just a flower. And so I really, and this is something that I've begun to tap into more, but it has come from understanding, David, that it's going to be okay. No matter what the issue is, it's going to be okay. Everything works out how it's supposed to. I totally stand on that. And I stand on it because the Bible says all things work together for the good, for those who are called according to his purpose, right? So, and that's like all-time favorite verse. But it's a model for my life. Everything works out as it should. If I don't make this bus that I have to take after I leave here and I miss it, there's another one, right? And I get the one I'm supposed to get. I might even meet someone I'm supposed to meet for whatever reason. And it was because I missed the bus before. But if I catch this bus and I meet someone else, because that's so either way, it's a win-win. I didn't miss the bus. I didn't miss an opportunity. I was just where I was supposed to be when I was supposed to be. So when I look at and think about and listen to our discussions about perfect and perfection. It's just that everything is imperfectly perfect.
Absolutely.
Right? Everything is
Absolutely.
imperfectly perfect. And so this conversation is getting great. I definitely want to make sure that we capture everything. Well, it's already 6:15. Where does the time go? It always goes so fast when we spend time together, my friend. I think we can take another quick break. And we can definitely resume this conversation because one more key, and that is gratitude. But I think that this next song is definitely appropriate for our conversation. Stay tuned. This is the C-Suite.
So many times you could have walked away, but I didn't have to say a word to convince you to stay. 'Cause you know and I know this thing is real. So we continue to learn, and our love grows deeper still. Each day, watch you get better at this. Each moment, I'm more and more convinced. We trusted love, we took the risk. We ran our own pace. We won our race, and I could never turn away. We've come so far. Stars look up at you, baby. My heart belongs right here next to you, baby. You, baby. Yeah.
If I had just one wish, it would be to stay together. Stay together. Let's grow together. It's not much to ask of us. I know we can do it. I always knew. Always look at me the way you do today. Treat me like a friend. Listen to what I say. 'Cause girl, I'm with you all the way. All the way. That I could never turn.
Stars look up at you, baby.
I'm here, baby. You, baby. Belongs
right here next to you, baby.
Right here next to you, baby.
So far. Stars look up at you, baby.
Stars are looking up at you. Smile.
My heart belongs right here next to you, baby.
That was Kindred and the Family, Stars. Another Philly group. Shout out to Philadelphia. Shout out to Kindred. Love that song. Again, this is Chaundra Daniels. This is the C-Suite. I'm your host. We are here with David Rowe, I'm a productions manager and consultant, and we are talking about life on purpose, 3 keys for personal growth. And our third key is gratitude. I love this key. I am thankful for being thankful. And I didn't always understand why being gracious and having gratitude and being thankful was so important. But as I've grown and matured in my walk and journey. And as I've encountered beautiful souls and people, I've learned that being grateful is really appreciating not only what you have and the experiences that you've encountered, but being grateful that you even know a little bit of why they even exist. So, can you speak to David? Can you speak to how do you feel? And can you speak to the key of gratitude?
Absolutely. Les Brown always say, don't sweat the small stuff. Then he says, guess what? It's all small stuff. When you mentioned earlier about missing the bus and not really realizing that the missing the bus was going to still fulfill a purpose because all things work together for the good. It's the small stuff that distracts us from happiness. Now, somewhere along the way, people got programmed to believe that they're going to always be happy,
Right.
especially in relationships. They get married, they start out the first year and it seemed like the best year of their lives. And then all of a sudden they're not happy about something that's going on in their life. And maybe the individual haven't learned. The other day this was not even a program we were talking about knowledge or just knowing how to live with someone. And I made the bold declaration that love is not the fix to a good marriage, but knowing how to live with somebody. So knowledge is the principal thing. And with all that getting, you get an understanding.
Yes.
You get an understanding for how to live with someone. Because I can love you to death, but there's so many people that fell in love and then they divorced. And you hear that story time and time again.
Well, I'm one of them. And just for the record, I love my ex-husband. It's not like, and if you see us,
it has nothing to do with
Right. But it was also about, what did you say prior to that? What did you say is not just the love? Love is the knowledge of a thing and the understanding.
Just living.
Neither of us understood
how to live with each other.
On top of that, I wasn't even grateful for being married. Like, was not even grateful that we had come out of the dating pool and had gravitated toward each other. But it had purpose. So again, it was never as the whole no wrong busting. My marriage and my divorce had purpose. So continue.
Yes.
We can have a whole conversation on that. But
I brought that up because it was a valuable moment in our conversation where we just kind of thinking about knowledge, being in awareness of the fact that you said, I'm thankful for being thankful. It's a lot of days I wake up and that's the first thing I say. I'm thankful for being aware that I should be grateful and thankful for the things that's going on. And believe it or not, being grateful or having gratitude is really it gives you the ability to have emotional control in performance situations.
Right.
Because you can be getting ready for an interview to get a job. And you can be all into being nervous about the questions. There's nothing, we'll tell you 1,000 times over, there's nothing wrong with being nervous. There's nothing wrong with being mindful of it in a sense that you're like, okay, I really need this to go well. But if all you're thinking about is it going wrong, it can really be disastrous for you because you're caught up in that emotion of, you're going to fail and I've failed before, and you're just focusing on that negative energy. The moment you stop and realize, you know what, I'm grateful that I have the opportunity to go into this interview and do what I need to do. I'm grateful that I had favor to even get the interview. I'm grateful that I'm still alive. I woke up and I didn't wake up sick. I still got my health. I'm able to go to this. I'm grateful that I had the means to get to where I'm trying to go. Everybody can't pay for an Uber or drive a car. You have so much to be grateful for and thankful for in life altogether. And when you get caught up in the emotion of being the gratitude, the emotion you get from just performing, saying it out loud, I'm so thankful. It's hard. We've said it time and time again. It's hard to be grateful and be mad at the same time.
It is, because if you're grateful for something, if you're grateful, period, just if you give thanks, you're acknowledging that I'm okay. Like really, like everything might not be and perfectly perfect, right? Everything might not be what you want it to be at this moment, but I am thankful for the opportunity to get to this moment. Like it's really mind blowing. You have to kind of step back and say, whoa, because when you are coming from a place of gratitude, you're coming from an abundance mindset. You're not coming from a place of lack. If I'm thankful for anything, that means I have it already. I have it. I'm not looking for it. I'm not looking for it to come. I'm not looking for it to show up. It is here. And I appreciate it and acknowledge that it's here. So I am totally appreciative of this moment right now, right? Totally appreciative. And happy birthday to baby Jabril. It is still the great, the owner of the radio station. Is his son 2 year old? His son's 2 today, and I don't remember being 2. You don't remember being 2, but you're like brand new, right? But his parents are so grateful for this day. 2 years ago, she was pushing his baby out, and hoping that she and the child survive. The father's hoping his lady and the child survives. And here they are 2 years later. Why we have birthday parties? You know why we have birthday parties? Because we're grateful for making it 365 days around the sun. You know how long it is to get around the sun and then to see it again? That's why we celebrate. And so we're grateful. So gratitude, and I knew when we got to this key, I was going to be on fire, but gratitude is the attitude, and it really does get you far. It helps you understand that there's no moment that you are without. You might not have it right now. So if we want to recap that conversation, remember I told you about the vacuum cleaner, right? I bought this vacuum cleaner and didn't need it because I had wood floors, but didn't know how to take the filter out. And you need the filter to be a clean filter when you start using it. Where I previously lived, I had a carpet. I used it, but didn't know how to clean the filter. Boom. Get to my new place. No, don't need it. No carpet. Fine. Right? Then the carpet comes. Now I need to vacuum. But I got to clean the filter. I did not know how to clean that filter until I needed the vacuum cleaner. Like literally needed it for real. And the revelation came. And however, I was thankful for having a vacuum cleaner. Because I was like, Lord, I got the cats. I got to make sure the hair's up. And look, I got a vacuum cleaner. But the filter, boom. And I lied to you not. It was literally, I sat with it. I took it apart and was able to put it back together and work properly. But I was thankful to have that vacuum cleaner. And that vacuum cleaner was the best vacuum cleaner I ever had. It burnt out 5-6 years later, but it rocked out. But, my point in telling that story is that I was thankful to have what I needed at the time I needed it, and would have been able to get something if I didn't have it. But I was thankful that I didn't have to do without. And even if I had to do without, it wasn't for a time. It was because I was going to get to when I needed it. So it sounds so out there, but it's just taking these steps and really stepping back and saying thank you. Like, thank you for all of this. I'm thankful to be on the radio. I'm thankful to have the opportunity to speak to you, and you on the other side of the world. You already in tomorrow. I didn't even get to tomorrow. This is crazy. You're where I have to get to, right? You're already in another day based on how the world's time zones are set up. But it's literally, and you're halfway through the day. I still didn't even get to tomorrow. So I'm thankful that we're able to connect through technology, that our days, even though they're on different days, that we can connect. So I think that this is the key. Gratitude is a super key. Like it's one of those keys that you can't even lose it. It opens many, many things within inside of you if you just take time to give thanks.
Yeah. So the point that you just made, part of what we do, as far as Monarchs, is that we deal with the mindset of our clients, and the biggest part about mindset is finding the place that you perform at the highest level. Scientists have proven that the people that are happy typically perform at a higher level than those that are, spending time in the dread of life and not happy at all on the job. Leadership should make sure that they get to know them that labor among them, that to get to know what their motivations are. And when you're happy in that community, wherever you are, it's really hard to stop that big the momentum that you get when you're doing whatever you're doing and you got happiness. I mean, washing the car, scrubbing the toilet, whatever it is, when you're singing that song and you feel happy, you got everything to be thankful for, you perform at the highest levels. You get things done, and it don't matter what's going on. When something does run into you, it runs into a fence of joy, because now it's too late. You've already got that experience. It felt good. You're not going to let anything steal your joy, so to speak. Being grateful, I mean, that's the quality that you got to have in your life, and it'll definitely build your character when you know things are tough. When we call it, when we have funerals, some people say we mourning the death of so-and-so.
Right.
But some people say we're celebrating
the life of.
There you go. It's a whole different transition.
It
and
was
a change in language.
It does. Let me tell you, I walked in and my dad was laid out looking like he was about to have dinner with Jesus. I lied to you not. And I couldn't even cry for sadness. I was just like, oh my God, he looks peaceful. And not only he look peaceful, he looks sharp. And now he looks sharp. Look at all of these people. And it was just 10 of us, as you know, there. But you could feel the love in the room, but you could see that my dad was no longer suffering. And when the pastor spoke, and she was such a blessing, it was the title of her, well, she sent me a copy of the sermon before. It was the celebration of the life of Henry Daniels. And I was like, yes, because that's really what it was about. We wanted to celebrate this man's life who had touched all of us in a way. We were sad that his spirit was no longer with us, or his body was no longer with us. But, we knew that he had transcended to a better place. So, yeah, very thankful for that. But you're absolutely right. You're absolutely right. We need to take a break. And when we come back, we're going to summarize this whole conversation, put these 3 keys together, and then wrap up our conversation. David, this has been a wonderful, wonderful Saturday afternoon. This conversation has been great. I love when we get to have these conversations on topics like this. We are talking about life on purpose. And my name is Chaundra Daniels. That's David Rowe, managing consultant for Monarch Productions. And this is the C-Suite. We'll be right back.
Tell them about it. Every time I think that I'm all by myself, yeah. I just look up in the sky, and that's where I find my help.
Somebody needs to hear this right here.
You might think that you got it all worked out.
Yep.
And you think that everything's okay. Yeah, there ain't nothing that you done to deserve His mercy and His grace.
He gives us what we don't deserve. That's why we say it's amazing.
You about to lose everything.
Yep. I know I'm not the only one who's been there.
When the doctor said any day,
he made the doctor.
And the devil tried to test your faith.
He thought he really had you this time.
Yeah. Nobody. Give me one good reason why you should still be alive.
Let me think about it.
Yeah.
I don't have not one answer.
That answer did you pass last night was meant to take your life.
If you be honest, if God hadn't covered you,
it would have been you in the grave. Yep. Could have been you with the pain. Right. When the judge said 20 to life, should have been calling your name, but to deserve His mercy and His grace.
Can I get a witness on that? Thank you, Isaac.
You were about to lose everything. When the doctor said any day,
then you went back and they couldn't find nothing.
And the devil tried to test your faith.
If you're grateful for a but God in your life, just say,
nobody. Just know that there ain't no situation that you come out of on your own.
He's always been there with you.
Right in the middle of the last storm in your life. You might have thought you were by yourself, but He was right there by your side. You were about to lose everything.
In the hospital with your baby.
When the doctor said any day. And the devil tried to test your faith.
You thought it was over. How did you make it? You thought you could make it. Look at you. You're still here. Now to every survivor listening who's ever been counted out and even canceled out, and your situation may have looked impossible, and now people are looking for an explanation on how in the world you made it through what you went through. I don't want you to let everybody know your business, but I just want you to look at them and give them a short version of your testimony and just tell them, you know what? It was nobody. Yep.
That was But God, James Fortune, and this is the C-Suite. I am your host, Chaundra Daniels. We are here with David Rowe, Monarch Productions Manager and Consultant, and I just love that song. I can play it again and again and again. So as we had discussed the 3 keys of personal growth and life on purpose, I figured that was a perfect song to give thanks to and gratitude. So again, But God by James Fortune. So David, we are rounding up on 20 minutes, actually 19 minutes left to the hour, and our show will be done. So wanted to make sure that when we have these conversations that we kind of give our listeners a call to action. So let's discuss what the next steps are. So we talked about 3 keys: purpose, vision, and goals, perfect imperfections, and the key of gratitude. What are some of the things we can do as we work with these 3 keys? Let's start with purpose, vision, and goals. How do we discover our purpose?
Well, when you're going, the only way to discover your purpose is to get on a journey.
Mm-hmm.
And when I say that, it sounds like real simple, but the reality is if you're not doing anything, then or walking anywhere or going anywhere, how do you discover anything? If you're just in an empty room, you don't get to discover things in the dark. You have to intentionally walk outside into the light and start the pathway somewhere. Are you going to be on the right journey right away? Not necessarily, but you can't be afraid to make mistakes and at least try something. And I always tell people to start with what your heart tells you to start with. If you're trying to do whatever business or whatever opportunity you've heard about or saw and inspired you to move in a certain direction, I encourage you to start on a path. Get started, because if you don't get started, you can't discover the things that you need to discover about who you are and whose you are and where you're trying to go. And in that process of going somewhere, you find out more about your true purpose. Mm-hmm. What more value is that you add in the world, because every day you have purpose. But to know ultimately what your purpose is, you can't discover it not doing anything. So I encourage you to take action in making a decision. Making that decision. One thing that the original intent for starting to do anything, you got to have a goal. You have to have a goal. Mm-hmm. You have to have a goal. And I say that because goals are going to give you direction. In the process of getting goals, you can make decisions a whole lot better when you have a goal. But when somebody come up to you with any kind of idea, you don't have a goal in front of you, you can't even, you don't know what to decide because you don't have a goal. And so you'll just jump on any opportunity and go with it. And then when it fails or flops, you don't know why it didn't work out for you. It had nothing to do with you didn't have anywhere to go. You didn't have a goal in front of you. So with
Right.
that purpose, vision, and goal, when you have a goal, you're going to sit down and go, okay, now how do I get there? So now you're going to see your way clear by sitting down and looking at the goal and beginning to visualize how I can make this happen.
So cast a
Because
vision.
how don't come to you first.
Cast a vision.
Cast the vision, make it plain.
Make it plain. Write the vision down and make it
Absolutely.
plain. So discover your goal by starting. Take the first step. The first step, the beginning of anything is taking the first step. And for instance, this is an example. I want to learn how to draw. Well, how do I learn how to draw? Sometimes you just start drawing. Other times you take a class. Okay. And that is the beginning, right? And the class is 6 weeks. The goal is to complete the 6 weeks. The vision is to have artwork hanging in my house, right? I mean, it sounds very simple, but there are steps to this. And there are opportunities to move yourself forward. So those were great. Those are great call for actions, David. So thank you for that. The second key, perfect imperfections. What is a call to action for that key? Like, how can we actually perform that key?
Affirmations. You have to know who you are. And in order for you to do that, first of all, if you're not where you want to be, if you don't have the best image of who you are, you have to create that image in your head.
Mm-hmm.
How do you do that? Well, your subconscious hears you say what you say out loud.
Absolutely.
You can think a thing and it never manifests because you didn't speak a thing. But you speak life into anything. When you open your mouth, you tell the world who you are. But the biggest key to this is not only do you tell the world who you are, you tell you who you are.
Right.
So I encourage you to have an affirmation. One of them that I learned years ago, I forget the book that I read it out of, but I was studying affirmations. I was studying the transformation of how people think. And the guy simply said this to himself. And historically, they said that this guy, he had patients that had illnesses, and he would go around and he would always tell them to say, every day in every way, I get better and better. Mm-hmm. That is a simple statement.
That's a simple affirmation. You are speaking over yourself. Words have power. And I think that that's something that we're going to have to put on our agenda for one of our next shows, the power of the spoken word, because it allows you to understand. Words create things, and the things you say to yourself. And affirmations means to affirm, and affirm means to agree. So the words that you say means that you agree. I'm amazing. Absolutely. I am amazing. Someone asks me how you doing. I'm amazing. Now, if I'm not feeling good, I'm not feeling good. However, I'm not going to say, I'm not feeling good. I don't know when I'm going to get better. You know what happens when you say that? You don't know when you're going to get better. Seriously, your body, the way that this wonderful world, the universe works is that words make it so. And to affirm what you say is to affirm what you believe.
Absolutely.
When you agree?
Absolutely, because your belief dictates behavior and behavior dictates your results.
So say that again. Belief dictates behavior and
behavior dictates results.
Woo. I like that. I really do like that. You're going to have to write that down for me. You're going to have to write that down for me. I like that.
Yeah, because if you believe a thing,
dictates my behavior, and my behavior dictates my results. Man, absolutely. That one, I'm gonna write that out for myself. You don't even have to do it for me. I memorized it that quick. Okay, so daily affirmation. So, you can say an affirmation is something that you can write, which I suggest people do. Or you can say or memorize. Scripture is affirmation. If you have a favorite scripture and you feel that that's something that you believe, and belief dictates behavior. My favorite scripture, all things work together for the good.
Absolutely.
I believe that, right? And so that's the results of my life. All things work together all things have and will continue to work together. Like not independently. The good and the bad work together for the good. So that's my daily information affirmation. What's yours, David?
Well, one of them is every day and every way I get better and better.
Yeah,
And it
yeah,
doesn't
you do
have a
say
cloak over it. Yeah, I
right,
actually do say that.
right.
And I say that because I'm always aspiring to be better than whatever I'm doing,
Mm-hmm,
in whatever capacity that I'm in. So in every day, in every way,
mm-hmm.
I get better and better. That covers me entirely. Health,
Entirely.
mind, body, soul, spirit, everything. In every day and every way I get better. And not just one day,
Right.
every
Every
day,
day. Every
in
day.
every
And
way,
in every way.
I get better and
You
better.
covered that. You covered the hours. You covered when, right? And you covered how, right? Well, if we think
Yeah,
about it, every day, which is when, and every way, that's how I get better. That's why.
yeah.
The who is you. Oh, you don't cover everything. You don't cover
I got
everything.
it
I
all.
love it. I
So,
love it.
but
I
the
love
beauty
it.
about whenever you when you say those things, I mean, it's an amazing experience when you do affirmations. It does help you out. It
No, it
does
does.
transform you. And what I want to tell people is, even if you don't believe it right now,
Right.
you keep saying it. You ever heard somebody say, "Oh, he lies so much, he's starting to believe it."
Right.
Yeah,
Right. Because that
they
is what
believe that.
they believe.
You never
That's
tell them,
how
"Oh
they
yeah."
can tell. That's how people can tell lies. They had to convince themselves first, right?
They are convinced
They are
without a
convinced.
shadow of a doubt.
This is my truth. This is the truth I want you to believe, right? Which means that it might not be anybody's truth, but this is the truth I want you to believe. And that's a whole conversation for us. So please don't get me started on that. But yes, Lord have
But
mercy.
you literally have to tell yourself until your belief system changes.
Yes,
Why? Because
yes,
belief is going to dictate behavior,
yes.
and behavior is going to dictate a result. So if I say leaders are readers,
Right.
I mean, I'm thinking, I believe that leaders are readers. So if I believe that, you should look at my actions, and it's going to tell you whether or not I'm serious about what I say I want to accomplish.
Yeah, yeah.
So
I
I
think
need to say it. I need to believe it. And the only way I can get it in my head and my subconscious is to continue to say it until eventually I believe it. And once I start believing it, it's going to change my behaviors, and my behaviors are going to get the results that I say I want in my goal.
hmm Well, I think that we have really had a great conversation, and we're summing up these call to actions and some next steps. Great. The last key, gratitude. How do we ask listeners, and how do we continue ourselves um, do that? Like, how do we continue to be thankful?
So every day, when I say every day and every way I get better and better, one of the areas that I like to get better at is identifying things to be grateful for.
Hmm.
Now, if you sat down and you do a long list of things to be grateful for, you can do a list of 12, and you
Right.
can take two a day, which will last you for 6 days. You can do two a day, and just always remind yourself every single day. It's just like doing affirmations, having things to be grateful for, having things to have gratitude for. Not only that, but gratitude is not just me saying I'm grateful for it, but people that have gratefulness or gratitude, they just give. They don't think
Absolutely.
about giving back because they don't owe anybody in that sense, but they just give. They just give. And if you're a giver, you're showing gratitude because you know what you currently have in your hand it wasn't yours in the beginning. It's how
Right.
you manage it. And
Right.
if you're able to give it, then you're making room for the next blessing. In fact, it's
Absolutely.
going to be more bountiful as you give. So you have to think about gratitude as not only saying that you're grateful, but also being in action grateful by giving to
Absolutely.
others.
Absolutely. And so in giving, you're acknowledging your gratitude. So, whatever it is that you need to give, whether it's forgiveness, whether it's holding the door for someone, whether if you give a smile, um, giving, you are actually practicing gratitude, and that's something that we can do unconsciously, right? We don't have to necessarily have to just be conscious about let me give, let me give, let me give, um, because unfortunately givers and people who give because it's just who they are and what they enjoy doing will come into contact with takers, and takers they don't know when to stop taking, right? As givers, have to be mindful, and honestly have to be mindful how they give, and when they give, and it's just give out of the sincere hopes of not needing or wanting anything in return, because it all works out. It all works out. It all balances out. And so, this has been a very, again, fruitful conversation. I'm very thankful for the opportunity to discuss this with you today. Life on purpose, keys to personal growth. David, I think that, when we talk about these things, it gives us an opportunity to really kind of look at who we are as people, and how we really want to be able to grow. Not only when we help folks in what we do, but how we want to grow individually. And so, in sharing all that we're sharing today, I'm thankful. So I'm going to apply these keys right now as we come to the end of the show. We have about 5 minutes left, and you know how we like to do at the C-suite. We like to take an opportunity to kind of do a summary, which we did. And we actually added the next steps, a call to action. I like that. I think we should continue to make sure that we have our listeners have next steps, call to actions. Nothing too much because they already got stuff on their plate, but that we are not just talking, but we're doers. I think the word says, do not just be what, but doers of the word. So not just be hearers, but also doers. So we don't just want to sit here and have a conversation with you. We want to share how you can apply some of the things that were discussed. And so we appreciate your time. But I wanted to have some final words on our discussion for today. And so, I love quotes. And as we were preparing for the show, for upcoming the show, I came across this quote and I shared it with you, and I think you liked it. But it kind of wrapped up this whole conversation we were having, because something you said earlier was about happiness, about people being happy. And so the quote of the day is, happiness is not a goal, it's a byproduct. And so when you're making your goals, when you're doing your stuff, just don't say, I want to be happy, because happiness is so fleeting. It's so vague. However, it's a byproduct of the goals that you set. At least it should be. And so, a life, if you pursue a life with purpose and meaning, you don't have to find happiness. It will find you. I like that.
I love that.
I like that. The movie was In Pursuit of Happiness. But when you watch the movie with Will Smith and Jaden, I believe Jaden, his son, was in it, right? What he was in pursuit of was being a provider for his son and making sure his son had a good life. And so the happiness was a byproduct of his pursuit of the provision for his son. And so I actually have that cue to watch when I go home this evening. Everything's tied to the C-suite. I think everything I do these days is tied to this show. And I'm kind of excited that, we have the opportunity to, I don't know, sit and take this Saturday afternoon and spend time with each other and discuss these applicable principles with folks. And I know it's weird because it's Saturday afternoon, people are out shopping or driving or just chilling. And we here talking and giving them stuff to do. But in order to fit our schedules, 5 p.m. to 7 p.m. seems to be a great day. How did you feel about the conversation today, David?
I thought it went quite well. I do know that we scratched the surface of what we actually can do with the Empowerment Mentor program that we offer with this. We just kind of scraped over the top, but there's so much more insight. There's so much more that people can learn in just their journey all together. And so at Monarch, that's what we do. We're about making people aware of the tools that we have available, but not only that, we encourage people to find a coach, find a mentor, find a group of people that you can associate with to pull out of you the greatness that you have in you. You absolutely have greatness in you. And if you haven't discovered it yet, there's some other people that can see it in you. One of the things I want you to know is that you can't see the picture when you're inside the frame. So don't call yourself too short. Don't say things to yourself that's tearing you down. You have greatness in you, and that's the bottom line. I'm sticking to that. That's my spiel, and I'm so grateful that you allowed us to talk on this subject. I'm also grateful to the people over in Empowerment Mentor Coaching and different things that the platforms that I've had experience with, the people there, but most importantly, the conversations that we've had that people didn't get the chance to hear, yet to come, yet to come to fruition. Uh, I'm looking forward to the next chapter that we have together and doing what we do to empower other people to have better lives. But not only that, to allow our own selves to grow and to learn and to develop into people that we know we've been purposed to develop and to grow into. So thank you very much, Chandra, for this opportunity. I'm looking forward to doing some more talks with you, but I'm grateful for you and for this show and for what you bring to so many lives by just being the authentic Chandra Daniels.
Oh, well, thank you, David. And I'm always thankful for you. I'm thankful for our friendship, our kinship. But most importantly, I thank you for sharing your time with us. I also want to thank Bars and Hoops Radio, the number one internet radio, the number one internet radio station. But I want to thank the guys here at the station. They're really good, and all the on-air personality that are on Bars and Hoops Radio. Also want to thank our listeners. I want to thank LinkedIn and YouTube. We are on LinkedIn and YouTube. I want to thank those viewers. And I want to thank you, David, once again. And for more information about Monarch Productions and what we do, you can visit monarchspro.com. I am your host, Chaundra Daniels. This is the C-Suite Radio Podcast. Until the next time, humor, inspire, motivate, and always, always understand that you are loved. God is love. You are amazing. David, I want you to be safe. I know you're already into tomorrow. However, we are already here in today, and you've been a blessing. So to all those who are listening, my name is Chaundra Daniels. This is the C-Suite, and we thank you for listening. Have a great evening and good night. Thank you.
Good night.